and you know you are not interested. Maybe not you, but you know you are not interested in this dude. And it's like, I don't really like him, but I am hungry tonight and I don't feel like cook. Yo, that is the worst.
So you just saying communicate
just
that.
Communicate.
Like, I'm really not interested, but I would still like to go out.
Exactly. How's it going, family? This is TNT Black Love. I'm Tone.
And I'm Trian.
And we are here with episode 2 of Blue Sectional. Last time we talked about unexpected pregnancy and how we deal with that. And we appreciate the response to that video.
So if you haven't seen the video, go watch it if you're interested.
Yeah, what she said. This week we're gonna go in a slightly different direction. We wanna talk about building a positive relationship. A lot of friends and family often come to us, and that's kind of one of the topics, is that they enjoy and appreciate our relationship. And sometimes I run into questions personally myself about, oh, how do you do it? Like, what happened? How y'all so cool? So we just wanted to dive in and do a few quick tidbits on how we think it could help you, because it helped us, build a positive relationship. First, let's talk about where it starts. You gotta crawl, man. I think a lot of times when you first meet someone and you vibe with them and everything feels copacetic, you tend to dive in and you want to hit the ground running, and that's when you find yourself kind of in a whirlwind relationship, and you don't really want to do that. You want to crawl. You want to take those intricate steps into understanding and getting to know the person.
Understanding the person, and I know a lot of people say this, but friendship, like building a foundation of friendship, is to me important. Like, and just getting to know that person for truly who they are, first and foremost, not who you think they are, who you want them to be, because you may like how this person looks or how much money this person has or whatever. It's like truly genuinely getting to know this other person. So friendship, I feel like, is a good start with that. Like when we have friends that are opposite sex, or even our own friends, it's like we don't expect nothing from that person. We don't expect them to treat us a certain type of way or whatever. It's just you just hanging or getting together with each other or whatever. It's not too much of an expectations that you would have in a relationship, I think.
Yeah, lowered expectations in the beginning is great. And then also what's great about the concept of starting slow is you define your, what am I trying to think? It's like your borders, your boundaries. The great thing about starting slow is you define your boundaries, and by defining those boundaries, you get to establish your communication, which in any relationship at any stage, no matter friend, family, communication is huge in a relationship. And if you can establish from the beginning what your communication is and how you will communicate, not just when you're happy, but when you're upset, when you're frustrated, that carries over, and we don't think about it. We tend to let a lot of stuff slide when we first start talking to somebody, and it's like, oh yeah, that bothered me, but she cute, so it's all good. Rather than saying, hey, I don't really care for this. This is how it makes me feel. That way she knows, so that when you finally reach a point where you're comfortable enough to call her out or him and say, yo, I don't like this, it's not like, well, I've been doing this for 6 months. So, And
it's like, we can't control what that other person does, thinks, feels, or whatever. All we can do is have that communication and communicate whatever we're feeling, doing with that to that other person. And hopefully this other person, because we're talking about the beginning of a relationship, respects and understand what you're saying. But again, we can't control if this person want to respect you or want to understand you when you say this makes me feel like something or whatever, but you've done your part. It's about what you do, what you can do in the relationship. You've done your part in creating this boundary or saying what needs to be said for you, and then you leave it up to the other person. You've done your part. That's it.
Yeah, I like that. That was well said.
Yeah.
So just know, for real, like, that's solid. When I was pursuing trend, I had to remember what was important to me. It was communication. It was respect. It was appreciation. It was just also like her individualism, like her understanding that she needed to be able to stand alone on her own in order for us to actually be happy, and me not feeling like I need to be the source of her happiness.
Right.
So I think understanding what is important to you and when you're building your foundation plays a huge part.
So I think that goes into too. First, I mean, when people pursue even relationships, or they realize like, oh, you know, this person is interested in me or whatever. It's like we have to evaluate ourselves and be like, well, am I ready for this? Am I wanting this? Because like you said, individually, like you have to stand individually. I feel like that's a good foundation. Like you can't expect somebody to be the source of your happiness, or this other person to you know, create a world of happiness for you all the time. It's like it'll be draining. So it's like before you even try to, you know, pursue a relationship or something serious, again, we starting from baby steps. It's like individually, how am I or am I ready and available to pursue something with this person?
Yes.
Period.
Because that is true, because and a lot of times I feel like we when we're pursuing someone, we don't stop and ask ourselves like, am I available?
Right.
You know, like,
we don't.
Am I emotionally available? Well,
I wasn't pursuing you. You was pursuing me.
I was pursuing you, so you were aware that you weren't emotionally available.
Yeah.
Like, but even in the beginning, that was something like initially I had to bring back in and ask myself too. It's like, well, like, am I ready for this? Am I emotionally available for this situation? Especially when you realize that it's more serious than what you might have thought. But that's a solid question to ask.
We have to ask ourselves, do I want to be pursued? Because you have an option. Like, if you don't want to be pursued, cut it off. Like, why lead somebody on? Why, you know, keep this relationship going to where it's serious and, you know, the issues start coming up? You have an option to say no.
Stop going on these dates for a free meal, man.
We be hungry.
That is, just stop. Like, I don't know why that crossed my mind, but like, yo, cut that shit out, B.
Listen, but that's just dating. Like, I
know. It just,
there's a whole nother situation. That's just dating. It's like, what if you're not coming out of this date for real relationship? We're just like, cool, you know, it's just a date. Let's just go out, hang out.
Then break
and I'm getting free food.
Then let them. I don't know.
That's not our fault that, you know, the guy wants to pay.
Is it though? Like, because if you know, I feel like if you know his intentions, like if you know his intentions.
Get to know me. It's a date.
So come, no. Hear me out. All right, check me out. Because this comes back to communication,
right?
And establishing that communication.
True.
Because you know his interests, what his interests are. You know what his intentions are, and you know you are not interested. Maybe not you, but you know you are not interested in this dude. And it's like, I don't really like him, but I am hungry tonight, and I don't feel like cooking. Yo, that is the worst.
So you just saying communicate.
Just
that.
communicate.
Like, I'm really not interested, but I would still like to go out.
Exactly.
If, you know.
Listen, even telling a dude, like, you can tell a guy I'm not interested, but I still go out, and he will still pay for everything because
if that's the type of person he is.
And if not, he's not the person you want to talk to, obviously, but it don't matter because you already know and you don't care about him.
Right.
So, okay. But that's
got on a whole other topic.
No, but that's still. I think that's
on point.
That's on point because that's a part of that. Like it's a crawl. Like the crawl is him trying to take you out, but you are aware that that you know what his intentions are,
right.
And you know you don't really want a lot to do with him, but you want that meal because he be taking you to Benihana's, whatever, whatever the thing is you like.
So I agree. So it's basically that's starting a foundation of okay, we've communicated. You know my intentions. Yes, I've told you that I'm not interested right now, but you still are applying the pressure and wanting to take me out. All right, I'm coming out with you, and thanks for the food.
Applying the pressure.
Because dudes do. They will consistently keep on trying to text you, try to hit you up or whatever. And at that point, it's like, well, I guess I'm hungry tonight. Let's go ahead and go out. But the point is, and the whole point of this whole conversation is foundation. You've set a foundation of communication, and y'all have communicated what you are, basically what you're wanting from each other. He still wants to get to know you, take you out. Okay, you let him know I'm not interested, but it still happens. It happens. That's all.
And from there, it's you're able to establish a healthy respect.
Yeah.
You're able to establish a solid friendship and a solid appreciation. Not just they're separate things. Like respecting somebody and appreciating them are separate. And just be mindful of that. You can respect like your parents, but you might not always appreciate what they do for you. And you appreciate them for who they are, and with both of those you're able to learn to just accept someone. And I think acceptance is huge for any relationship, especially a intimate relationship, because what you don't want to do is find yourself tolerating. Because when you tolerate something when it's all good, when it's all bad, all you do is use it against them, or you lash out and it becomes something that drives you crazy. So you have to be able to accept that person for everything. The stuff you love, the stuff you don't care for, because that is their package. And I think with acceptance also, it also comes, you don't find yourself asking them to change because you accept who they are. So if they change for the better, it's because of them and not because of you. So
what about love?
I think, okay, so this is probably an interesting, because I don't believe, personally, I don't believe love is a part of a foundation. I believe love is decor. I believe love is the aesthetic. I think the foundation of every relationship is gritty, it's grimy. That is where you establish things. Like it's been down in the trenches, and it's going through experiences with one another. And when that house gets streaky and the decor starts to wear off, and you got to replace the decor, I feel like it's the same thing with love. Like, this pillow is beautiful and I love it right now, but if one day I'm not going to love it so much, but I'ma still love the foundation of this house, and I still have this what I'm standing on. So for me, love isn't huge love isn't important to a positive relationship, a healthy relationship, but I also understand that in a long relationship there will come times where you may not be in love with that person. And it's different from loving someone, but you may not be in love with that person. So I don't consider it a part of our foundation. It's huge, but it's not huge from our foundation.
For me, it's basically just, it's not everything that builds a healthy, positive relationship. And love is just a continuing action that you have to learn every day. Do every day for your significant other, to your significant other. So it's one of those things that it comes. I guess, I don't know. What am I trying to say?
I was gonna say it does come.
Let me see. It's one of those things that it's just you just go with the flow, and you can consistently, continually have it in your relationship.
Yeah.
But it's not an important aspect.
Yeah. Well, I won't say. Well, it's not. It's an important aspect of a relationship, but not a foundation. Like,
yeah, not a foundation. That's what I meant. It's not an important aspect of a foundation. But of course, in your relationship, you're gonna love this person. You're gonna, be in love with this person. But for as a foundation, when you are, you irritated with each other, or you got on my nerves, or whatever, it's like that love might be erased for the moment.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, what is our foundation now? Like, what do we have? What is our core? What do we have in common as far as morally and to our core, to where, you don't go out and cheat just because he got on your nerves, or you don't go out and, do some silly stuff because you have this foundation of respect, of love, of communication, of, look, this is how I'm feeling right now. Like, it is, whatever. So it's like you work through that, and then the love will be worked out the next, at the end of the day, you will still have that love for each other.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say. I hope that didn't make...
that made sense.
Okay.
It made a lot of sense.
Okay.
And that's... You can't ask more of your significant other or prospective significant other than to do just that, than to be a friend, than to communicate with you, and then to respect you and appreciate you, and go from there. A few things that came up throughout the conversation, which I feel like if you made this fun video, you should walk away and ask yourself, with this person that you're interested in, with this person that you're planning on building a life with, first ask yourself, am I ready for this? Am I open to this? Am I mentally healthy enough for this? Am I emotionally healthy enough for this? Because the buck starts and stops there. If you can't answer that question with a solid yes, then 9 times out of 10 it probably won't work.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's asking yourself, it starts with you. Am I ready to respect this person? Am I ready to appreciate this person? And from there, working on just really building a solid form of communication and setting those boundaries. They're not always easy to set, and some conversations are harder to have, but they're conversations that need to be had, I feel like.
Yeah, that's part of communication. You communicate everything. Like you said, the nitty gritty, whatever, you communicate everything.
You do. Well, that's it for us.
Yep.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Sectional, where we talked about the foundations of a positive relationship. And, leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. If you have any questions, we are always open. And then also feel free to check out some of our other videos.
And even if you disagreed with anything that we said, comment. Let us know. I feel like we open-minded individuals. We can have a mature conversation, No, and that's just that's the rotation of life. Of so people are going to disagree. It's about communicating, the different aspects and what goes on in other people's head.
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, we can only speak from our experience and the things that work and didn't work from us. If you hear the information that we give you and you find it useful after applying it to life, then fantastic. If you hear the information that we suggest or may give you and you're like, well, this is ridiculous, then all the more. We appreciate you giving us a watch, and we will see you
next time. Bye. Wait, what did you just say? That made me think about that thought. Like you said, oh,